Recording.
All right. How to create a workout plan. Gonna get into a lot of nutrition here, more than we anticipated.
How to create a workout plan. Always, the understanding has to be um, that the results come from the kitchen, 100%.
Yeah, that's just
I mean,
how
of
it
course it
is.
does, because that's the part that sucks.
Yeah,
You know what I
that
mean?
yeah.
It's like, fuck. You know what I mean? What do you mean I can't eat that?
Yep.
So understanding, I think we got to go after calories, macro balances. Um, the division between people who think calories in, calories out versus, being stupid or whatever. And you know, because it can be confusing.
Yeah.
I understand why. But it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's confusing because we just manage to fuck everything up
Yeah.
almost
All
always. Okay, so basically let's get to it.
right.
All right.
So, when you are thinking about a workout plan, if you're embarking on your fitness journey, the first thing that you need to think about is like, what's your goal? Like, what are you working for? And you have to think about what that action plan will look like. So, first and foremost, like we just talked about, you're going to have to start thinking about how many calories a day you're going to be taking in, how many workouts a week you're going to be able to be doing, how you'll track your progress. And honestly, you really have to think about if those are things that you're willing to do. Finding the time for it, making sure that you are up for something like that. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Hmm. I think you're again back to the kitchen. I think you have to, go get a nutrition app. MyFitnessPal, I think it's still free. I hope it's still free.
It's still yeah.
Um, I mean, there's, you know what, just look calorie counter, Google that shit, and there'll be. I mean, see, this is the easy way, right?
Yeah.
Go find an app. MyFitnessPal has worked in the past wonderfully,
That one works really well because a lot of the foods you're gonna find are preloaded already.
and then what you do is you backtrack, say 5 days worth, something like that.
Mhm. Yep.
All right, gauge it. Just even if you don't remember, just ballpark it. Do your best to get just the selection down. Like if it was a cereal you ate on a Monday morning and it's Friday and you don't remember if or let's just say it was a specific kind of raisin bran honey bunches of shit, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. Just do your best to ballpark it, right? And just backtrack it for 5 days and see. It'll tell you how many calories, like what your intake is looked like, and it'll break down to fat grams and your proteins and your carbs, right?
Mhm.
So then you have an idea about what your routine
Already is.
it kind of already is, what your habits are like. You'll have enough hopefully you'll have enough memory to say, okay, well, on the Tuesday I ate like a complete jackass because da 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 da. And
Or
you'll know if it was an extenuating circumstance or you were just lazy or it was an amazing day and you were really, really hyper motivated or whatever.
you could too, and what we usually do when we coach people through things like this is we say, "Okay, for the next 5 days, track everything you eat. Don't change anything.
Hmm.
Keep with all your routines." Literally, we have seen it all, so don't feel like we're gonna be judging you or something. But track everything normally for 5 days. Don't change any of your habits, and just track as you go every day. And that'll give you a really good insight.
So then once you have that, whether you backtrack or you forward and you just kind of keep at it, honestly, I think it's better to back, in my opinion.
I mean, going forward,
If
you have
you
to be careful that you don't have a bias
if you
now where you're
back
trying to
right,
eat
but if
better.
in it, but see, the downside is if you backtrack, it's like nobody knows but you
Mhm.
if you forget something or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's I mean, if you backtrack and it shows that you're eating, 7 calories,
That's
motherfucker, you lying. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had a perfect Mac balance. Look at me. No, you didn't. Stop.
Stop
You know what I'm saying?
it.
So one way, no matter how you do it, one way or the other, you have to,
Figure out where
uh,
you're starting.
yeah.
and what you
Yeah.
need to change at moving forward.
Right. Right. So I think um okay, so once you've gotten it down, all right, then you kind of know where you're at, what you're doing, and so on. Then you have to identify the kind of goal that you're trying to get after here. Not
Mhm.
not just a picture of the celebrity you want to look like,
Yeah.
but I mean that's got to be there.
Mhm.
That's got to be there. But
But you
you
have
know,
to what's behind that.
you have to be able to know what it took to get there in some way. And
Mhm.
and it's if somebody is super lean and ripped, like I remember seeing Ryan Reynolds in Blade 2, and I was like, damn, that white boy ripped, boy,
Mhm.
woo, at all of 165 pounds.
Ah,
You
he's
want me to
cute.
give you some quiet time? God.
I like Ryan Reynolds. I do.
Okay, moving on. So, anyways, it's always more than just, if you're just focused on the picture of it, the imagery of the thing that you want to look like or whatever, and you don't plan right. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Mhm.
So then what ends up happening is you get frustrated and you start looking for the short-term fixes, which is you know, the pills and the supplements and, not the good supplements and things that just can really derail you on a foundation level from a metabolic standpoint. So that's, be aware of that. So when you're looking at, all right, if I want to drop and look like this, whatever that is for you, you have to assume if you're a newbie from an exercise standpoint that the exercise is going to be awful. You just have to
Yeah.
you just have to know that's going to be that way.
Yes, not only will it feel awful, but it will feel awkward, like, you don't know what you're doing. The first time I walked into the gym, I'm like, "I don't know where to go."
Or at
Like,
least what it's supposed to feel like not just the part that it sucks, but if you're doing an exercise
"Should I
and
be feeling this in my
yeah,
arms or
yeah,
should
yeah,
I be
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
this?"
yeah. So the inexperience of it is one thing,
Yes.
okay? But again, if you don't wanna go after getting some professional help or whatever, and you really wanna just YouTube is there for you.
Mhm.
I'm sure you can find something that be smart about it, just stick with the body weight, stuff until you can do your baseline stuff. That's why
Right.
we put measurements and test measures, um, with every custom we do because you gotta know what the baseline is.
Yeah.
It's the exercise equivalent to backtracking your calories.
Yep.
Okay. So know that right away. And then you got to figure out how many days a week can you commit to, not overcommit, but can you actually commit to, even if it's a small number per week towards said goal.
Yep.
And then once you have, let's say I can commit to 4 days a week. I know with the 7 days, there's four of them I can for sure
Pencil it in.
pencil it in because of I'm ready to rock and roll, or it feels like 4 days of the week are less hectic for me from work or whatever it is you have going on. Uh, and then once you have the days per week hammered out, then you can figure out time. Okay, well, how much time per each of those 4 days can I roll with? There are some days I know I um, can only squeeze in the 20-minute, 25-minute, like the quickies that we put together,
Yep.
and that's okay because the only bad workout's the one you missed, right?
Mhm.
Uh, or there are some days that I don't even know what I want to do. I just know it's a day I'm supposed to get something in. And I know that I have in my little bag of tricks, I'm going to go ahead and kick some ass for 2 hours. I don't care what
Oh.
I'm doing. The only goal I'll have is to not stop.
Yeah.
That's it. I can take breaks, but I'm not going to stop. Right. So then it's like, all right, if I got 4 days a week at least 4 hours per, then
Mhm.
you can start to look at your week differently and say, okay, I'm committing to exercise 4 hours per week,
Which is not that much.
which is not that much. So
Just have to throw that in there.
when you're ready, mentally ready to start really hammering out what the details look like once you put some light on them, then saying I work out 4 days a week isn't as sexy as four. Sorry, is not nearly as sexy as it sounds when you realize it's only 4 hours a week or less if
Yeah.
you're depending on what you're doing.
Right. Ah,
And no, I'm not saying that everybody should go for 2 hours per workout. I
no.
mean, I suppose you could, but again, if you haven't gotten the kitchen part planned out right, you're going to end up you're going to end up kind of confused. And
And
so,
it goes back to your Ryan Reynolds example. Ryan Reynolds is not working out 4 hours a week in order to look like that.
no,
He's working out a lot more
he's
than
probably
that.
working 4 hours a
4
day.
hours a day,
Well, when you're a celebrity, whatever.
and that's your job, for sure. But
S-
you have to know that when you're looking at a picture of somebody.
So I think, let's gauge with, okay, so where are people going to start with this, with the calories? I mean, I think, 2000, 2500 calories. I've almost always said 2500 calories is a great way. Aim for that shit. If
Mm,
you're eating 10 calories a day, that's a problem. If you're
yeah,
eating 5,000 calories a day,
also a
unless you're a
problem.
power lifter, that's probably a problem also.
Yeah, and it's highly customized too, right? Like, it depends a lot on your baseline, where you're starting, and all that kinda stuff. We can start your calories a lot higher if you're already eating a lot of calories. So it that's one thing that you have to do your research on, or find somebody to help you figure it out. But for the most part, you should be about 40% of your calories coming from carbs, 40% from protein, 20% from fat. So
That's for if you don't know what that is, that's a macro balance. When
that's a
people say,
macro balance.
what are your macros like?" That's like fancy gym talk for saying how much fat, how much protein, and how much carbs are you getting in.
Yes, and
And a 40-40-20 is like that's your,
legit.
basic
Yeah.
good starting spot.
And the other thing you need to know about that too is that macros are calories, because almost always the next question is, okay, well, if I'm supposed to eat 250 grams of carbs, 250 grams of protein, and 60 grams of fat, then how many calories should I be eating?
Mhm.
Well, every gram of carb has 4
4479.
calories.
Just
Yep.
remember 4479.
Yep. Every gram of carbs has 4 calories. Every gram of protein has 4 calories. Every gram of fat has 9 calories. And you have to watch out for the alcohol too, because it's got 7 calories itself. Now, everybody says alcohol is empty calories, blah, blah, blah. But if you're
They say
eating,
what?
they say alcohol is empty calories. Like, whatever, I'll just have vodka soda. I'm great. That's not true. Or people are drinking their White Claws thinking it's only 100 calories. But when it's 100 calories of something, it has to go to something. So if you're eating your 2,500 calories a day, right?
Mhm.
And you have all your protein. He's making the most ridiculous face at me
Because
if
this is
you're
like this is what
listening.
like an alcoholics. Y'all got a problem.
Well,
What you
it
talking about?
people are really sad when I explain this to
That's
them.
what.
They are. It happens all the time. They're like,
Yeah,
"Oh
well,
my god, that just
yeah.
ruined my
Again,
day."
go back to perspective. Step 2 in the fear guide.
For sure, but you can't go into it thinking, "Oh, I have 100 calories of White Claw," or whatever, and it on the nutrition label, it says 2 grams of carbs or something like that. That's wrong if you're counting macros. That does not count. 100 calories divided by 7 is whatever, however
Mhm.
many. So in any case, that's besides the point. You have to know that alcohol counts, and that macros are calories in and of themselves. So 40-40-20 split is your happy place. Um and the number of calories do count, because 'cause I've also had clients before who are only eating 800 calories a day, but
What
they're
the
like,
hell?
"Well, it's 40-40-20." I'm like, but it's 40-40-20, but you're not eating nearly
You don't
enough."
get enough calories and you'll go into starvation mode, you start to store fat.
And
Will
that's
you lose
sad.
weight? Sure. Yes. And eventually you'll end up dust, pile of
Oh,
dust.
it'll be horrible and miserable.
Because let's not forget when you exercise, you burn through calories.
Yep, that's the point.
Yes, I mean, so, if you don't know what your BMR is or your basal metabolic rate, which again, I don't know, some places offer it. I don't. Is it necessary to have? It's great to have.
It's good to know.
Um, but I mean, if you were to gauge, your basal metabolic rate basically says what your body burns per day just to survive.
Mhm. Yep.
And the reason, I mean, do I think it's important? Sure. Do I think it's necessary? Sh Not no, I don't I mean, if you can get it for free, great, and there are some gyms that offer it, that's great. Knock it out. Doesn't mean shit when it comes time to prepare.
Right.
Like, what difference does it make? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, like knowing that you got a problem sipping the sauce,
Like,
looking
just
at it
don't.
as calories that don't count ain't gonna help you much. You're gonna find a way to fuck it up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God damn. It's like water. That's because you have
No.
a problem, honey.
It's not
Let me
actually
tell
water.
something to you, okay? So if you know what you're burning every day just to survive, and you can estimate. So let's just say like you're burning let's just say you're burning 2,000 calories, 1,800. That's probably high. So let's just say 700 calories, 1,700 calories just to survive.
Like laying in bed, not moving.
Especially if you're like, let's just say you're not a child, you're a grown ass adult. right? You're burning 13 to 1700 calories every day just to live, and you're eating half that.
That's bad.
And and now you want to work out, burning another 3 or 400 calories. You know what I'm saying? You're going backwards fast.
You're pushing your body into panic mode,
Well, I'm not
essentially.
hungry. I don't want to eat no shit. You ain't hungry. You know what I'm saying? So when you plan it out, okay, you have to assume, your body will cost you 1,500 calories just to live. Let's just say,
Mhm.
for all intents and purposes, 1,500 calories just to survive. Wake up, do your thing, go sleep. 1,500 calories burned, right? And then you work out, you'll burn another 200 some 300 calories more than likely. I think more than that gets, the more intense you go.
Right?
But if you have a higher fat content, you may not burn as much. Not just from a muscular facilitation standpoint, but also because you probably just don't have the aerobic capacity,
Mhm.
and you won't be at it that long to actually burn. So let's say 300 calories
Mhm.
just to be cool,
Yeah.
right? So now we're looking at 1,800 calories per day, including exercise. And if you're not eating 1,800 just to break even, you're going to go backwards. Body stores fat. And now you got bingo arms, bingo tits, bingo legs, you got, you know what I'm saying? You fat all over the place, but you're really trying to do the right thing.
Right,
But
but
there's a
it's the
difference
wrong.
between trying and doing. And
Mhm.
we talked about that one before. And so, all right, I got, what I say, if you're looking at 2,500 calories,
Mhm.
it's hard to adjust to, and that's okay.
It is hard to adjust to. You feel like you're eating
But
a lot all
now
day
that you
long.
know your body with exercise, because you're going to want to exercise,
Mhm.
that's the tangible thing to make me feel like I'm getting something done, is 1,800,
Mhm.
right? You backlogged, or you present logged what you got, right? Now you're going after 2,500 calories. That looks like, what do we say? 250 grams carbs, 250 grams of protein, and 60 grams of fat, right?
Yes.
And then per meal breaks down to, what did we say? 400 something,
Yeah, it's about 400
416,
calories a meal.
400 calories per meal.
Granted, you're eating 6 times a day.
What's what I co well, I counted those as that's I think we wrote down 6 times a day. That's 3 meals and 3 snacks,
Mhm.
right? 3 meals and 3 snacks at 400 something, 400 calories per.
Yep.
Okay. So now you gotta do is look at, you know, what makes up 416 calories. Or
Yes.
easy math, let's just say it's 400 calories, just for the sake of conversation.
Yes.
Okay. What can make up 400 calories?
Mhm.
And then of the 400 calories, I mean, what is the percentage of each 400 calories has to get broken down to make sure that it satisfies the 40-40-20,
Yes.
right?
And
So
if
explain that one then.
yeah, if your head is spinning right now, that's understandable, and that's why you have to plan ahead. Because the more you plan ahead, the more you play with the numbers, the more you're logging your food, the more you're being precise, you are going to be less confused. So, if you think about it, a banana by itself, a medium-sized banana, 105 calories, and it's all carbs, which isn't a bad thing as long as it fits within your balances. An avocado, half of an avocado, I talk to people all the time. Well, I had a healthy breakfast. It was avocado toast. And they're wondering why they're over on their fat grams every day. I say, well, how much avocado are you putting on your toast? And they say, half the avocado. That's 120 calories by itself and almost all fat. So if you're allowed, take eggs, 3 eggs is 21 grams of fat. If you're only allowed 60 grams of fat a day, now you just had a third of your fat by 6 a.m. So planning ahead becomes really, really important so that you can see where those balances fall. You can make sure, number one, that you're getting enough calories, and number two, that you're getting enough of the right calories. Because it's all fine and dandy to eat healthy, but if all of your calories are coming from fat, you're not going to be losing very much fat. If all your calories are coming from carbs, you're not gonna be building muscle the way that you should.
Because eating healthy is not necessarily eating right.
Exactly. I mean, you could walk into Whole Foods, you could say all that stuff is healthy, it's there's no chemicals in it, it's organic,
A-
whatever, but if you go to their, like, cold bar, you could still eat 1,000 calories in
And
one
so we,
sitting.
we talked about before also the whole like right versus healthy
Yep.
options and choices and things, and really, you know, if the table was full of good choices, your options or good options, you could make a good choice
Mhm.
for all intents, right?
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily mean that if your goal is X, among the good options, if your goal is X, that you should choose that one, that one, and that one. You may need for you may need to choose that one over there, this one. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
because they're all good options doesn't mean they're the right
Right,
options.
right. Now, as for do I think that your your meals and your snacks should match in caloric value? No. I mean, that would drive me nuts. That's
Oh
like
my
eating the same
gosh.
size meal. You're either gonna be hungry or you're not gonna be able to finish, which then you'll just create waste.
Yeah.
And honest, I think that if you're, if we're looking at what ends up happening is some meals are higher in caloric value,
Mhm. Which is
dinner
normal.
and
Yeah.
whatnot, of course. This is how we are as people. But, if I had my pick, I would say go after, your breakfast, of course, most important meal of the day, right? So get your calories in, start the day strong,
Yeah.
and just go from there. Like, look, if you ate the first day, if your first meal of the day is 4 to 500 calories, I mean, break that shit down. Go get yourself some eggs, control your fat because that's gonna make sure. I'm not saying you wanna, sandbag the fat and whatnot, but let's be honest, if you're just getting going, it's gonna be hard to
It
fight
adds
your
up throughout
day-to-day
the
routine.
day.
Yeah, the last thing you wanna do is, "All right, it's 6 AM, I'm having my breakfast, and I got all my fat out of the way." Like, you got a long ass day at work, you just asked yourself to walk a tightrope,
Ah,
you know what I'm saying?
and on the other side too, like, if you are only having a 250 calorie protein bar or protein shake for breakfast, you're gonna be hungry literally all day, and it's gonna be hard to come back from that because that's
Right,
another thing people run into,
right,
is they sandbag their calories early in the day, and by 4 p.m., they're getting off work, and they are ravenous, and they can't stop eating
right,
because you've been hungry all day, it adds up. Which again goes back to planning ahead
right.
and knowing your routines and knowing yourself and understanding your hungry times of the
Yeah.
day and your busy
And
times of the
this is
day.
why people meal prep
Yes.
because it's hard to, depending on the job you have, and this is where I think COVID helped a lot because you're home.
Yeah, but it also hurt because 'cause you're home. Like, when I was a
Again,
teacher.
if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Right.
That's
When I was a teacher, I brought all my food to school. I had, whatever calories laid out ready to go, and when I was home, I had all the calories right there. So it's I mean, there's pros and cons on both sides, which is why I think meal prep is a good idea whether you're working from home or going somewhere.
it's hard to do, it's hard to do. That's the irony is people want accountability and structure, but they don't want to be governed
Yeah, kind of.
in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, fitness, health and fitness and all of that is such a clusterfuck of semantics and ironies, and this is why it's like,
It's gotta fit
just
your.
don't eat like an asshole.
Yes.
Start there. Well, I
Oh
mean,
god.
we've had several shit, I don't even know how many clients I've had in the last, 13 years where I've said, "Listen, nobody's asking you to make every single change the first day.
No.
Deciding to do it is the first change, and that's the change. That's all you need.
Right.
Hone in on that.
Mhm.
Focus on that,
Mhm.
and then take the next step." You know what I'm saying? If you're not willing to make strong, powerful changes in the diet, as long as you understand what will come from that or won't come from that, okay, then cool, baby
Yeah.
steps, no problem, no
Yeah.
problem. But what'll happen is sooner or later you'll realize what's a guarantee is you'll realize the exercises once you get past the oh hell no moment, they're not that bad. You're in control of how bad things need to be. Really, you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So once you understand that, what's going to happen is you're not going to be as reserved with goal setting on your workouts and things. You're going to have a little bit more, uh, you know, machismo behind
Yeah.
getting it done. And what'll happen is the food that you didn't want to give up in the beginning, all of a sudden is not going to be adequate fuel.
Yep.
You're gonna be like, you know what? I really how come how come I really wanted to get this exercise done and I couldn't do it today. I was dragging ass. And it's like,
What'd you eat yesterday?
yeah. And then all of a sudden it'll start to
Oh,
outweigh itself and you'll say, you know what? All right. I mm,
maybe I have to.
let me put down this damn Twinkies and shit. You know, or let me put down this 0 calorie
Yeah.
fucking White Claw crap. I know it didn't matter, but just in case it does matter, wink, wink, fuck out of here.
That was a good wink.
You know, I just, again, it's okay. Deep inside, you motherfuckers know.
That you need to change that.
Sooner or later, you're gonna have to
It
make the
will come.
adjustments.
Yes.
And of course, there's every nutrition option out there. There's supplements out. There's all sorts of things that you can
So
hammer
many.
hammer in on to get your shit together. But the long and short of it is
Plan ahead. Know what you're aiming
know where
for.
your base is,
Uh-huh.
know what you're physically able to do, know what your goal looks like to get an idea about what is required to achieve that goal, right? And then go back to, all right, here's my body of work, here's what I can do, here's what I can't do, right? And I'm not saying, oh, can't means won't, Chris. Don't be a hypocrite. I'm saying, like, if I wanted to be 6'5" and black, shit, I can't do that. You know what I mean? It's not got nothing to do with won't. I'm a 5'10" Filipino dude. I've been this tall since 7th goddamn grade. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. Shit. You know what I'm saying? So that notwithstanding, we're looking at, from a kitchen wise, okay, I need to get in this is what I've been eating.
Mhm.
If I am getting in 2,500 calories, cool. Break it down.
Are they the right carbs, fat, protein?
Right.
Are
Right.
you putting the White Claw down?
Don't be afraid of the carbs because the carbs are your fuel. That is your
You
primary fuel source.
you need them.
Next to fat, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
need carbs.
you need your carbohydrates for fuel, period. Right? And if you don't wrap your brain around that concept, like, it's going to be real hard to
Per-
sustain the patience to see it through.
Not only that, your workouts will physically be harder. Like you will not progress the way that you want or should be progressing if you are stiffing yourself on the carbs.
Right.
It won't happen.
Right.
So the main things to remember with nutrition, like we said, look at your calorie balance, look at your macro balance, plan ahead. Um, and then when you start to look at the workouts, make sure that you're not going too hard, right?
Mhm.
Like you don't want to go balls to the wall right out of the gate and then burn yourself out in the first 2 weeks because you're so sore you can't stand up and then you give up. But at the same time, you also want to be pushing yourself. Like an average purse weighs 5 pounds, 10 pounds.
A
If you're
what?
like somebody's purse, think about like the
A
top.
purse weighs 10 pounds?
Well, my backpack probably weighs 20, but yes, people carry a lot of shit in those things. Maybe not your like
What
Lululemon belt
the
bag.
shit is in a purse
All
that
sorts
weighs
of
10
stuff.
pounds?
Extra shoes.
In a purse?
Sometimes.
Like, not a backpack, a purse.
Well, yeah, it depends on how big your purse is. All I'm saying is you're carrying toddlers around all day and stuff. You can
Is a toddler in the purse?
No.
10-pound purse. The fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Something wrong with you.
There
Is
might
your
be.
White Claw in the purse?
No.
What you working out for? Man, I got my purse
got-
carry. What the fuck? I can purse curl 50 reps, homie. Watch this.
All I'm saying is people underestimate the amount of weight that they can and should be lifting. I mean, obviously be safe, like don't compromise your form, but at the same time, make sure you're challenging yourself with the weights that you're choosing.
Okay.
Okay, good.